Now, bro, you need here. Let me videotape this real quick. I want this on video. What are you doing to my bro? This is up.
My name is Lieutenant Colonel Lee Roger Wolfgram, and I am a storyteller. Welcome to the bunker. Welcome back to the Colonel Channel. I am your self-proclaimed commander, Lieutenant Colonel Lee Roger Wolfgram, where I give you Colonel advice and legal analysis. But right away, what I'd like to do is I would like to thank Audit the Audit. I think Audit the Audit does a great job. So if you want the full legal breakdown with the statutes and the cites, Audit the Audit does a fantastic job of that. And I also want to give credit to Blaine County Solutions, BCS's channel, because they are the ones that originally got this video. So with this said, we're going to talk today about, again, this comes up quite frequently, and I know certain parts of the audience like these First Amendment auditor videos. This is not a First Amendment auditor. This is just a body-worn camera, but it brings up those points that have to do with, for example, at this point, as this officer encounters this gentleman here in the alley in the early morning hours, at this moment, what crime is he suspected of that can be reasonably articulated by the officer? That is the legal issue at this point. So let's watch.
A bit suspicious, you know. So, just the walking around.
Walking around is a little bit suspicious.
I mean, technically not really, but I mean it is pretty early in the morning. Just wondering what was going on.
That's what we do. We get up early in the morning. You got your ID on?
Just wondering what's going on. So you can be curious all you want. That does not require, and again, this depends on your jurisdiction. So you might want to check with your jurisdiction because the identify laws are different based upon jurisdiction. So in this case, we'll find out.
What do I need an ID for?
Because I just asked you for it.
I don't need to show my ID.
Okay, if you don't give me your ID, I'm going to take you to jail for failure to identify because I've identified that you've been walking around down here at 5:30 in the morning.
First indication of the problem, this guy's attitude. So this isn't about training because I don't think you can train this out of. This guy just comes on bully strong in the alley. And right now, anybody, I don't care whether you're pro-police or whether you're pro-First Amendment or if you're like me, pro-both. But at this point here, this is all about attitude. This guy's attitude, and he comes on strong. And this is my point here, is when you come on this strong like a bully, you give yourself no room to de-escalate, and the only room you have to save face is to escalate. Watch.
Yeah, we do that.
No, you're not. Give me your ID.
I don't have my ID on me because it's at the house.
Okay, what's your name and date of birth?
Huh?
What's your name and date of birth?
I don't know, but you can't run. I don't have. This is a state where I don't have to show my ID.
Turn around.
You're gonna do this in front of my son?
Yeah, turn around.
Are you serious?
Yeah, turn
This
around.
is my son. Let me bring my son home first.
No, turn around.
Again, going back, what is the reasonable articulable crime that he is suspected of right now? Not providing an ID when just asked questions of curiosity, apparently.
Now,
Bro, you need here. Let me videotape this real quick. I want this on video. What are you doing to my son? Bro, this is up.
There you go. There's the attitude. See where it goes? He has no room, but now he's bullied up, and now this is on. And this here is exactly the reason why there's such terrible police relationships here, is because there were so many better ways to handle that citizen encounter. And I will tell you that even if you're trained to know when people are required to identify themselves, which in some videos I advocate for training, this guy just has an attitude, and that attitude can't be cured. And you see he's got another cop with him, and this stuff infects an entire force. He'll get fired.
Son, it's okay, okay?
It's good.
Bro, I promise you're gonna pay for this.
you think?
Yeah, I promise you that. We're walking around. There's nothing suspicious. I've done nothing criminal. I don't have my ID on me. I told you that.
And what did I tell you?
Then you just slammed me on the ground because I was trying to record. What are you rolling me on the ground for?
It's gonna be okay.
Dude, this is ridiculous. Man, look what you're doing to my son. There's my phone right there, too. You're a punk. You know that. Dude, I can't even believe you're doing this to my son because we was walking around on 4th of July.
Have a seat and I'll talk to you.
Just the insensitivity. So the guy's son is right there, obviously right now traumatized. How do you think that kid is going to feel about cops in the future after observing that? So just the awareness that there's a small child here, and you're supposed to be some sort of a person that people go to when they need help. Do you think this child is likely to go to police when they need help after just seeing what happened to his father for absolutely no crime whatsoever?
Buddy, come here. You're okay. Listen to me. You're okay. Hey, quit crying.
So what was that all about? So he goes over to the child who's just completely devastated right now, says, basically orders him, you're going to be okay. And that's it? That's the whole reason for walking over, and now back to dad? There's another officer there.
People that don't want to identify.
People that don't want to identify. They need to be shown who's boss. You know what? They need to be taken to the ground. They need to be thrown in the back of a squad car, and they need to be taught a lesson.
Typically, I'm involved in criminal activity.
Typically involved in criminal activity. If you want to assert your First Amendment right, any right, I guess apparently, then that in itself is indicative of criminal activity. This is where this officer is going. He needs to go. He needs to go now.
I've known this individual to be involved in theft in the city of Canton.
You see what he's doing? He's trying to narrate. He's trying to give himself on the recording. He's narrating to try to give, hey, see, this is the reason why I did all this stuff. So that's what he's doing. He's talking out loud and he's justifying. He's trying to, and he struggles. He cannot articulate anything other than maybe people in this area before. This guy, what did this guy do?
There has been no criminal activity.
Okay, listen to me.
Bro, we were just walking, and when you came up,
you didn't
hear what he said.
Shut
when
up
he first
and
came
listen
up,
for
though,
a
did you?
minute. No, shut up and
Okay,
listen.
what?
Okay. So I saw y'all walk down the alley behind the... I saw y'all when I was headed into the office. Walk across the street.
Yes, sir.
Then I got my unit ready. While getting my unit ready, man, I see y'all back in the alley you left from, okay?
We will always walk from that alley around it.
Okay.
That's our house is around that. Is that why we do that? I promise. We do it every morning. I'm surprised you haven't seen it.
So here's the thing. That's fine and dandy, man. But listen, we have people that are going down up and down these alleys, spray painting and tearing shit up.
Yes, sir. I understand that.
Okay? It's the 4th of July, man.
But
And so what? So on the 4th of July, you do this. It's a holiday. This is celebrating all of the rights that we got as this country, and this is your celebration? It's the 4th of July. Yeah, good day to get fired.
Okay,
if he would have came up and said something like, hey, but he just goes,
Hey.
I've been called for, what do you say, investigation of something. And I'm like, what?
Yeah, okay, so here's the deal, though. Listen, when I got there, I didn't play games with you. I asked you what y'all were doing. You said, okay. I've worked here. Yeah, and that's fine, dude.
Huh?
I love it that you're out with your kid. But it is a little odd, okay? So when I ask you for your ID, you say, I don't have any ID. So what's your name and date of birth? That's all you have to give me. Give me your name and date of birth.
That's all you have to give me. All you have to do is just submit to my demands and completely waive your First Amendment rights and just do what I tell you, regardless of what the law requires.
What is your name and date of
I
birth?
know, but it's just because
No, this is your last opportunity.
Oh, you're asking me right now? I thought you were saying my name is John Sexton.
Okay, set tight.
Officer Goodwin argues that he is authorized to demand identification from Mr. Sexton because he was walking in an alley early in the morning where there had been prior vandalism incidents. Oklahoma does not have a stop and identify statute that requires citizens to identify themselves to police officers. However, Section 21-540 of the Oklahoma statute states that, quote, any person who willfully delays or obstructs any public officer in the discharge or attempt to discharge any duty of his or her office is guilty of a misdemeanor. manner. And as this statute does not require physical obstruction in order to sustain a conviction, it is conceivable that an individual could be charged with obstruction for refusing to identify themselves under certain circumstances, although I could not find any court cases involving such a criminal charge under this statute. Nonetheless, the Supreme Court has made it abundantly clear that the Fourth Amendment only permits officers to demand identification under threat of arrest if they have reasonable suspicion of criminal activity.
5 Weatherford. Show 1 detained. Okay, listen, man. As long as you don't have like a bad warrant, I don't want to take you to jail. I don't like taking people to jail. I don't like doing what I had to do to you in front of your kids.
Well, you sure seem like it wasn't your first time. It seems like that's generally the way you do things.
You caused it. All you had to do was provide the information asked. Listen. Shut up and listen just a minute. We had reasonable enough suspicion to identify you. That's all that matters.
And what if you're completely, absolutely wrong because you don't know the case law, you've had incorrect training, and you've been going around teaching people the wrong thing to other officers, and you've been treating and violating people's rights? I don't know how long you've been a cop, but I imagine this has always been your belief.
Criminal activity.
Yeah.
But I didn't do no criminal activity. So
Yeah.
No, I didn't. I didn't do nothing criminal walking with my son.
Okay. It's not criminal, but we still have reasonable enough suspicion to identify you.
And if I want to give the ID, I can.
No, it's not a if. The state is not a if you want to
So
state.
it's a state that they can ID you at any time.
It's not a. This is not a shall ID state. But once you're being detained, and
What was I being detained for?
criminal, like we don't know what's going on, but we can call it criminal activity.
We don't know what's going on, but we can call it criminal activity. This is great. That would mean you can always demand anytime there's no constitutional protection whatsoever. You can just call it what you want.
That's not, but I didn't do criminal activity, sir. That was
Okay, man.
Thrown down like that in front of my son.
I didn't even throw you down. If you want to know the truth.
Lie. We all saw the video from the other officers. I didn't even throw you down. He basically tripped him down.
Did and
No.
he rolled me on the ground, sir.
I rolled you on the ground to.
Times.
I just making sure you don't have any weapons in there, bro.
Bro, that was just a little overdoing it when a kid's right there. That's all I'm saying.
Well, don't you think maybe next time a cop says, "Hey, what's your
I
name?"
have my ID though. That's what I was telling you. I don't have it on me.
But I did ask you what's your name and date of birth is. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you about it, Mr. Sexton. Okay, you got warrants out of, see? And that's what I was saying, man.
Where at?
I've been doing this. You got warrants out of Woods County.
They don't pick me up. I was just
Okay, but here's the thing, man.
It's a ticket, that unpaid ticket.
But here's the thing, man. Typically, when a cop's out with somebody and they don't want to identify, it leads us to believe that you are involved in more criminal activity than we need to. So that's why you heard me saying what I was saying, because I'm narrating for the camera. This is not my first day on the job, okay?
Well, I hope it's your last day on the job because everything you just said is absolutely incorrect. And you've exposed any agency you've worked for I don't know how long to any kind of civil liability for, I don't know the number of violations there may have been. But when you go around just spouting off wrong information like this and then acting on that incorrect information, you're a hazard to the community, and you're definitely a violator of people's rights, not a protector of their rights.
If I tell you to do something, you better be doing it. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it makes sense.
No.
Hey, you know what? Maybe teach.
I don't have to do. You know what I'm saying? Like, I just
You
thought
just-
my son being there, it wasn't the right time to do all this.
Yeah, well, you know what, man? At 5:30 in the morning.
Bro, I get up 4 o'clock every morning.
No, that's cool, man.
4 o'clock at night. I
Yeah,
get up at 4 o'clock.
but put yourself in our position. We have our job is to make certain that it's not going on down here. We see all the spray painting.
Well, no, actually, I think probably your job is to enforce the law, not to incorrectly apply the law in order to demand things from civilians that haven't committed any crime whatsoever.
So I literally saw y'all cross right here. Howdy.
Indians around here running around doing that bull.
I got you, bro. Was clear. How you getting along over there, boss? Huh? Yeah. He's got possible warrants. So when I was headed in, I saw him walk down the alley, and then when I moved my truck around to the covered stuff, you know you can park back there if you want, right?
No, I didn't know.
Yeah, you can, man. When I moved my truck back around there, like I turned, so this is Prouty. They were already walking out of the alley at Noble. And they walked, and then they just turned around, and he went right back into the same alley he came from.
Okay, so you're narrating it for the camera. So now here's what we've all been waiting for. What can you articulate the crime that you suspect him of? What is that crime? Is he going to commit a robbery? Is he going to commit some other heinous, violent crime? Is he going to spray paint things? Tell us what. Articulate what is the concern. What is he going to do?
And he was hanging around on the, it'd be like 101, 102 or something like that. I'd have to go back and look at the address. He was hanging around back there where they cook all that barbecue and stuff. So that's why we're making contact with him.
Yeah.
When people don't want to identify, typically there's something else going on. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And that is the justification for how that guy was treated. Now, you got it all narrated on camera?
Goodwin repeatedly claims that when people refuse to identify themselves, it is because they are involved in criminal activity. However, citizens have the constitutional right to refuse to identify themselves during consensual encounters with the police when they are not suspected of criminal activity. And the Supreme Court has repeatedly made it clear that declining to answer an officer's questions cannot, without more, create the reasonable suspicion necessary to justify a seizure.
Too early for this.
He has like 10.
Huh?
You don't have one, he's got like 10.
Yeah. He didn't want to identify. He got his tripped up, put on the ground.
He's proud of it. He got his tripped up, put on the ground. Boy, that's the first thing he has to report to this officer when he gets there. He took care of the situation.
So when I came in, I come from the north. I see him cross this street, Prouty, in the alleyway. He's walking down. When I turn to go put my stuff up, they don't come out at Noble. I get my stuff to go, and I move my pickup around back, and they're hanging around like the back over there. You know where the bar, like where TGC is and stuff? They're hanging around over there. I don't know what they're doing.
I don't know what they're doing. Must be committing a crime.
So Joaquin finds him. Joaquin's talking to him. He's like, I don't have to tell y'all anything. I said, dude, you're being detained. Hold on. I said, you give me your ID. He's like, I ain't giving you my ID. I don't have it. I said, okay, what's your name and date of birth? And he said, I don't have to tell you, or something like that. So I said, all right, go ahead, turn and put your hands behind your back. I'll take you in for failure to identify. Like, you're being detained. Like, I don't know. I was fixing to tell Joaquin, like, if we can kind of get the situation where we can go over there to TGC and see what's going on and make sure nothing's out of the ordinary. He's like, we're just out walking, man. We walk every day. Okay, that's cool. But how much crap goes on in these alleys, Jarrett?
Yeah, right. Yeah, I know.
So, he wouldn't turn around and put his hands behind his back. So he got the old jerk, kick your feet up from underneath you right.
Well, and the part about this that bothers me is the other cop is like nodding his head. Like, that's what I'm saying. This can infect an entire agency.
I mean, why is he out 6 o'clock in the morning with his kid?
Says he gets up every morning at 4 and walks around. You ever seen him?
No.
Me neither.
No, and I call out those when I'm doing too.
Yeah.
I purposely drive behind him.
I don't think I'm out of the scope of my job, do you?
No. I mean, we've been told to extra patrol because of issues in the alleys, and now we're checking out somebody that's in the
Yeah, exactly.
Well, extra patrol is not extra violation.
reports of drug stuff.
He's got one side of woods, custard cake. Yeah. This guy, he had weed in his car, a little bit of weed, but not enough to matter. You know this guy at all?
The name sounds familiar, but I don't.
Is this the guy that Travis got into it with at Canton? Is this the coins, the guy that stole the coin jar off the Buzz player? Okay, man, have a good night. See? I'm not dumb, am I?
Oh, yeah,
I
you
usually
are.
have warrants that don't want to identify.
I know, but they've been on there for 10 years. Like, they're just for tickets.
Okay.
That's all they are.
Well, here's the thing, though. Are you aware of what they're doing now? So now that I've advised you, they're all supposed to put a check mark on them or whatever. So the next time somebody checks out with you, guess what? there's a good chance you might go to jail for them. So you might want to start getting a hold of them counties and take care of it.
Yeah, you got to get a hold of them now, they say. They used to just put warrants out, but they said if you get a hold of them and you can't pay it, they'll work with you and not put one out. But
yeah, but here's the
this
deal.
was from 10 years ago. That's the reason
a
why
lot
they're
of
out,
you, a lot of you guys have strung them out so long now that they're saying, hey, guess what?
Sit them out.
Nope. Yep. You can come set them out.
Yeah.
All right, man. Mr. Sexton, if you're going to be walking around, that's fine. But we've literally been put on extra patrol in the alleyways, so that's why you got checked out with. And if me or one of my officers check out with you, at least give them your information. Okay. All right. So you guys have a good day.
No, not okay.
You got my phone?
Yeah, I do. Glad you asked. I'd have to try to come find you. Where are you working at?
Apple Market.
Okay, man. Hey, buddy. See, this is what we don't.
Come on, son.
Hey.
You're supposed to be in there, son. Come on. You can't stay in there. That's not ours, okay? We'll go home and pay.
All right, so listen, you guys, we don't mind you getting out walking around, but when the police officers ask you who you are, you better tell them, okay?
Come on, let's go.
Mr. Sexton eventually obtained body camera footage of the encounter, and he created a TikTok account to share the video. It went viral, resulting in an influx of complaints from local residents and social media activists alike. And local residents organized meetings to address their grievances, including a demand for the replacement of the city manager, leading to the resignation of both the mayor and vice mayor. Additionally, after Mr. Sexton's interaction went viral, another Watonga resident came forward with an allegation regarding Officer Goodwin punching her autistic 15-year-old son 3 times after her son bit him. It has also come to light that before Officer Goodwin worked for the Watonga PD, he was employed as a deputy with the Blaine County Sheriff's Office. Sheriff Travis Doherty told the media that Goodwin was demoted and eventually left the department after receiving complaints from deputies who he supervised. After the encounter, Mr. Sexton filed a complaint against Officer Montoya and Officer Goodwin. The Oklahoma State Bureau of Investigation looked into the complaint and then privately turned over its findings to the district attorney. Prosecutors declined to file criminal charges, but the Watonga Police Department terminated Officer Goodwin after conducting its own disciplinary review. However, in November of 2024, Officer Goodwin was reinstated after he appealed his termination. Mr. Sexton has retained an attorney and has indicated that he intends to pursue a civil lawsuit. When law enforcement labels a citizen as quote-unquote suspicious solely because they asserted their right not to identify themselves, it undermines the very freedoms that the Constitution seeks to protect. This mindset encourages officers to operate from a presumption of guilt rather than innocence, and penalizes citizens who are knowledgeable about their rights. Overcoming this stereotype is one of the greatest challenges facing law enforcement culture today, and this interaction highlights the fear and resentment toward officers that this conduct fosters.
There you go. You see what I see. If you want a more in-depth legal analysis of the case law, go to Audit the Audit. He does a really good job of breaking this down. I just take his work and then I make my comments about it as well. If you don't want to watch my commentary, just go directly to those videos, either the source video listed below or Audit the Audit. Until the next time, from the Wolfgram Worldwide headquarters here in downtown Minneapolis, on this cloudy, rainy, kind of snowy day, Wolf 6 out here.